I don't know how many times I've heard that voice. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, soft, almost easy to ignore. But it was always there. A whisper in my chest, a pull in my gut, a feeling that something wasn't right. And every time it spoke, I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself to relax, to move on, to ignore it. So I did. I ignored the hesitation. I ignored the warning. I ignored myself. And every single time I did, something went wrong. Not small things, not things I could brush off. I'm talking about moments that changed everything. Moments I wish I could go back to. Moments where, if I had just listened, things would have been different. But I didn't. Because the truth is, we don't like listening to that voice. It challenges us. It warns us. It forces us to see what we try so hard to avoid. And ignoring it is easier. Until it isn't. Until you're standing in the middle of consequences, wondering why it all went wrong. When deep down, you already knew. That voice, your conscience, your inner self, it doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you don't learn to listen, life has a way of making sure you hear it, the hard way. This is my story. I should have died that night. Not almost, not maybe. I should have died. Because when the truck lost control, there was no time to run, no time to think. Just headlights, blinding, rushing, coming straight at me. And then, everything slowed down, but not the way people describe it. Not peaceful, not beautiful. It felt wrong, unnatural, like time itself was hesitating. And in that broken moment, I saw her again. Standing right behind the truck, unaffected, untouched, watching me. And she smiled. I didn't understand it at first. Back then, life was normal, simple. I had problems, sure. Bills, work, stress. But nothing like what was coming. The first time I saw her was the day the bus crashed. It was an ordinary afternoon, the kind you forget. People moving, vendors shouting, life happening. And then I noticed her standing across the road, still, too still, not checking her phone, not talking, not even blinking, just watching. At first, I ignored her, but something felt off. So I looked again, and this time, she was already looking at me, like she had been waiting for me to notice. Then, she smiled, and seconds later, everything went wrong. The sound, I still hear it. Metal bending, glass exploding, people screaming. Chaos swallowed everything. I remember pulling someone from the wreckage, my hands shaking, my heart racing. But even in that madness, I kept searching for her. I didn't know why. Maybe because deep down, I already knew she mattered. But she was gone, like she had never been there. That night, I couldn't sleep, not because of the accident, but because of her smile. It wasn't evil. That would have been easier. It was something worse, certain, like she already knew what was about to happen. 3 days later, I saw her again at the hospital, standing at the end of the hallway. Same stillness, same silence, watching. The air around me changed instantly. Cold, not the kind you feel on your skin, the kind you feel in your soul. I stood up slowly, walked toward her, step by step. My heart beat louder than my thoughts, and just when I was close enough to speak, she turned and walked away. I ran after her, but when I reached the corner, she was gone. No doors, no footsteps, nothing. That's when I knew this wasn't normal. After that, I started noticing things. Small things at first, then bigger ones. Too many to ignore. A fire broke out in my neighbor's house. But before the flames, before the smoke, I saw her standing outside his gate, watching the building like she already knew what it would become. A man collapsed at the market. People rushed. Voices panicked. But moments before it happened, she was there, right behind him, still, silent, watching. A child disappeared on my street. Everyone searched. Everyone shouted. But hours before anyone noticed, I saw her standing at the end of the road, looking not at the child, at me. That's when fear changed. It was no longer fear of her. It was fear of what she meant. I stopped trusting reality. Everywhere I went, I scanned faces, looking for her, avoiding her, praying not to see her again. Because now I understood something. If she appeared, something bad was coming. And the worst part? I never knew what. Days turned into weeks. Then one night, I was walking home alone. The street was quiet, too quiet, like the world was holding its breath. Then, the street light flickered. Once, twice, and there she was, closer than ever before. This time, she didn't just stand there. She moved, slowly, deliberately toward me. Every step she took felt like something inside me was breaking. Then she stopped, raised her hand and pointed, not behind me, not around me, at me. That's when everything changed, because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't following tragedy, she was following me. And then, the memories came, not gently, not slowly. They crashed into me. The bus crash. I was the last one to cross the road. The driver swerved because of me. The fire. I ignored the faulty wiring earlier that day. I knew it wasn't safe, but I said, I'll fix it later. The man at the market. I bumped into him. Hard. He stumbled. Minutes later, he collapsed. The missing child. I saw him wandering alone, confused, lost. And I walked away, because it wasn't my problem. That's when it hit me. Not fear, not shock, truth, heavy, unavoidable, painfully clear. I didn't just witness these tragedies. In small ways, I caused them. Or worse, I ignored the chance to stop them. I ran toward her. For the first time, I didn't hesitate. My voice broke as I shouted, "Who are you?" But she didn't flinch, didn't blink, just looked at me with that same knowing smile. And then she spoke, but her voice, it didn't feel like it came from outside. It felt like it came from inside me. You see me because you choose not to listen. Everything went silent, because deep down, I understood. She was never a warning, never a curse, never a stranger. She was my conscience, the quiet voice that told me, stop, think, this isn't right. Help him, fix it now. Don't ignore this. The voice I silenced, again and again and again. She didn't come to cause tragedy. She came because I refused to prevent it. And that's the truth many of us run from, because many times, before something bad happens, we feel it. That small voice inside us, that discomfort, that hesitation, that warning. But we ignore it. We say, it's nothing. I'll do it later. It's not my responsibility. It doesn't concern me. And when disaster happens, we look for someone to blame. Enemies, bad luck, witchcraft, fate. But deep down, we know. We were warned. Now, she doesn't stand across the street anymore. She doesn't hide in shadows. She doesn't follow me, because she doesn't have to. Now, I see her every morning, in the mirror, watching me, waiting, not to warn me, but to see if I'll ignore her again. Because the scariest thing isn't that something bad is coming, it's knowing you had the chance to stop it, and you didn't.